Mr. Salieri wants you to know that he is very grateful to you. If you ever need anything, you can come back and ask for help.
For over 20 years, the Mafia series has hooked us with its complex, morally grey tales of the criminal underworld, revenge, loyalty, and bucatini.
Make the right choice here and I'll whip up some fresh bucatini for you.
To celebrate the release of Mafia: The Old Country, we're taking a look at the graphical advancements made with each entry in the series. The story begins in 1999 at the small Czech studio Illusion Softworks. Hot off the release of their well-received World War II tactical shooter Hidden and Dangerous, Illusion set their sights on the gritty criminal underbelly of 1930s America. Hoping to leverage the same platform as Hidden and Dangerous, Illusion Softworks originally conceived Gangster, as it was codenamed, as a driving game with multiplayer features, targeting a 2000 release. But as the scope of the game's single-player experience grew, it became clear a brand new game engine would be needed. The multiplayer features were dropped. More third-person sections were added, and the release pushed back to 2002 to give Illusion time to realize its ultimate ambition, the compelling narrative-driven game we know as Mafia. Illusion Softworks wrote their proprietary LS3D engine specifically for Mafia, and it compared favourably to other engines of the time. It's tempting to compare Mafia to another 2002 open-world crime game, GTA Vice City. While Vice City's signature blend of tongue-in-cheek mayhem and vicious satire undoubtedly left a greater mark on the gaming landscape, from a graphical perspective, Mafia 1 outshines Vice City in almost every way.
Thanks.
Mafia features more realistic driving physics and impressive vehicle deformations. Cube maps, whilst not a new technology by 2002, help the shiny automobiles look part of the world, whilst the car models themselves are higher poly than anything Vice City has to offer, faithfully conveying the sweeping curves of 1930s car design. This era saw the first tentative steps into fully 3D open worlds. Mafia's fictional city of Lost Heaven and its surrounding countryside give the player 12 square kilometers to explore, more than GTA's Vice City. It also featured a realistic day-night cycle and weather effects, at least between missions in free roam mode. Mafia had lofty ambitions with its narrative too. Everything from its orchestral score to its extended intro credit sequence, replete with sweeping camera moves and vignettes of 1930s daily life, tells you this is more than merely a driving and shooting game. To help tell the tale of Tommy Angelo's descent into crime, the game leans heavily on both pre-rendered cutscenes and in-game cinematics featuring characters with, at the time, realistic facial animations.
Does the name Salieri mean anything to you?
Salieri? It damn well does. You got something in common with him?
Originally released on PC in 2002, Mafia was praised for its realism, with the US edition of PC Gamer giving it a 91% score. PS2 and Xbox ports would follow in 2004, though the LS3D engine didn't scale well to their aging hardware, which resulted in a poorer critical reception.
We're gonna have to teach you a little lesson so you remember that it ain't right.
Perhaps because of these, the next Mafia game would be developed with consoles in mind from the get-go. Mafia 2 was simultaneously released on PC, PS3 and Xbox 360 in August 2010. Set just after the Second World War, it follows Vito Scaletta as he returns home from war to the fictional city of Empire Bay and gets embroiled in a power struggle between several Mafia crime families. While the LS3D engine that powered Mafia 1 had seen further outings with Hidden and Dangerous 2, Wings of War and Circus Empire, it was now nearly 10 years old. Illusion Softworks, now acquired by 2K and rebranded as 2K Czech, knew that a new Mafia game would require a new engine. So they wrote one. The Illusion engine that runs Mafia 2 improves on its predecessor in many ways. In an era when DirectX 11 was permitting ever greater tools to up graphical fidelity in games, Mafia 2 surprisingly chose to stick with good old-fashioned DirectX 9 as its graphical API. But this isn't to its detriment. The models for both characters and vehicles are much higher fidelity than before, with improved facial animations complementing the excellent voice acting.
Hey, me and Vito go way back. He just come back from overseas and he needs some cash.
Wet and icy roads and glass panes glisten with reflections. Normal maps and dynamic shadows help give the world more depth. though this is somewhat buried beneath the permanent astigmatism of late noughties bloom effects, commonplace at the time. A close technical partnership with Nvidia resulted in the game supporting PhysX for clothing and particles, 3D vision for stereoscopic gaming, and Nvidia Surround for gaming on multiple monitors, all cutting-edge technologies at the time. Tire and exhaust smoke is particularly impressive, with stencil shading allowing the particles to softly blend together and even be influenced by local lighting. While it was praised for its story and its storytelling, Mafia 2 drew criticism for its repetitive gameplay, which didn't innovate much on the original game. Stiff competition from its contemporaries had raised the bar of what an open world should feel like and the amount of interactivity that was possible.
Come on, show me what you got.
Vito, please!
Despite Mafia 2's fictional city of Empire Bay being roughly the same size as Mafia 1's Lost Heaven, which by 2010 was pretty small for an open world game, the lack of interactivity made the world feel shallow and repetitive. Development on a third Mafia game began soon after the release of Mafia 2, but in 2014, 2K Czech was restructured, with much of the development team being reassigned to the California-based Hangar 13 to continue the project. Released in 2016, Mafia 3 is the most divisive entry in the series. Set in the fictional New Orleans-inspired city of New Bordeaux in 1968, you play as Lincoln Clay, a Vietnam vet who embarks on a revenge plot after the local mafia betray and murder his adoptive family. Once again, the developers updated the engine running the game, though this time it wasn't from scratch. The Fusion engine on which Mafia 3 runs is an updated version of the Illusion engine. Developed with PS4 and Xbox One in mind as well as PC, the Fusion engine could take advantage of the latest technologies of the time. Models, cloth and textures all see significant upgrades. The use of physically based materials enable metallic surfaces to look more true to life. Horizon-based ambient occlusion helps shade objects more accurately, whilst volumetric lighting effects lend the scenes a sense of atmosphere. But compared to Mafia 2, most visual effects seem toned down. Tires don't smoke as much. There's no fancy PhysX particle effects, and even the vehicle destruction that the series prides itself on is watered down. The map is bigger, sure, but the lack of fast travel makes it a bore to traverse. Performance can fluctuate wildly depending on the scene you're currently in and the activity you're currently doing. Driving, especially at night, has a big hit on frame rates compared to walking around inside. This suggests that the engine struggles with dealing with multiple light sources over large draw distances, probably because it was designed with console limitations in mind. Mafia 3 launched to a mixed reception critically, and by the wider gaming public. Graphical advancements aside, the gameplay itself, which largely follows the same formula established in GTA 3, was now seen as old hat.
He kept me in there, locked in there, day and night.
Whilst the story drew praise, missions were criticised for being repetitive and basic. It also caught flack for walling some of its best content off as paid DLC. With the Fusion engine now at their disposal, Hangar 13 now chose to go to their back catalogue to refresh the two previous entries in the series. Mafia Trilogy, released in 2020, is a compilation of all three Mafia games, but each has been given a slightly different treatment. Mafia 1 Definitive Edition is a complete ground-up remake of the original, but now in the Fusion engine. Character models now sport roughly 20 times the number of polygons and significantly higher detailed textures. Paired with enhancements in facial motion capture technology, the Definitive Edition's characters can now act with much more nuance than was possible in the 2002 original.
That's right.
Similarly, the environments receive a huge facelift courtesy of higher fidelity models and textures, but also more period-appropriate clutter and dressing, some of which is destructible. It all helps make Lost Heaven feel more authentic. Mafia 2 Definitive Edition is a remaster, meaning the core framework of the game remains intact. Remember, the original ran on Fusion's predecessor, the Illusion engine, so most of the work here went into simply updating textures and the occasional model to take advantage of modern hardware capabilities. Consequently, because Mafia 2 Definitive Edition isn't a remake from scratch, at times it feels like a downgrade compared to Mafia 1's Definitive Edition. Mafia 3 Definitive Edition is classed as a re-release, since it's essentially the same game, just packaged with all the DLC as standard. That said, Hangar 13 did make minor changes to some graphical settings to ensure better parity across all 3 entries and, presumably, to improve performance.
That doesn't make a lick of goddamn sense.
Set in turn-of-the-century Sicily, Mafia: The Old Country is once again setting out to deliver a compelling narrative-driven open world. Despite the setting, cars and vehicles still appear to feature prominently, along with some much more literal horsepower. The trailers also showcase plenty of third-person stealth and combat, and the usual focus on cinematic storytelling. From a graphical perspective, well, it's a new Mafia game, so of course it needs a new engine. This time it won't be a proprietary one though, developers Hangar 13 opting instead to use Unreal Engine 5. There's no doubt Unreal Engine 5 packs some seriously impressive tech under the hood, especially when it comes to lighting. Mafia TOC utilizes Unreal 5's Lumen for real-time ray-traced global illumination and reflections. Scenes are brought to life in stunning detail thanks to Unreal Engine 5's virtual geometry technology Nanite. Its ultra-realistic characters are metahumans, another Unreal Engine 5 feature. Even the particle effects finally outclass Mafia 2's PhysX ones. But Unreal 5 has also come under increasing scrutiny for performance issues, stuttering, and a somewhat muddy look to the games produced in it. Stalker 2, for example, was lambasted at launch for crippling performance issues even on high-end hardware and poor optimization. But is this the fault of the devs, or the fault of the base engine? This year has seen the likes of Oblivion Remastered and Avowed deliver large open worlds that ran well for the most part and looked stunning. Will Mafia: The Old Country rise to meet the occasion? We won't know until we've done our full performance analysis and review, so subscribe to PC Gamer for more deep dives on your favourite games and hit the bell icon to be notified when we drop our full review of Mafia: The Old Country. Thanks for watching.
Welcome, Enzo.